He's been lying to you.
Sarah,
Tell me that you didn't attack Philip.
I can't tell you that.
Just get out of this house.
You got some nerve, Horton. Excuse me. You know what you did.
Alex, he's not worth it.
Is it true Teet's not the father?
Admit it.
Why wouldn't you just tell me?
You've been lying to my son.
We just want you to tell us the truth.
Please, I can't.
Sophia! Sophia?
Can you hear me?
It seems Sophia has suffered a psychological break.
Sophia has a mental breakdown, collapses, and becomes catatonic. Sophia Choi will experience a psychiatric breakdown. According to the Days of Our Lives teaser trailer for the week of October 20th to 24th, fans of DOOL will see Sophia's fall and apparent catatonia as the stress finally gets to her. Maggie Kiriakis claims that Xander Kiriakis has been lying to Sarah Horton Kiriakis in the opening of Days weekly promo. Sarah then pressures Xander to clarify that he did not attack Philip Kiriakis. Sarah will know that Xander has lied to her once more as he is unable to accomplish that. Sarah will be so enraged by that revelation that she will take off her wedding band and kick Xander out of the house. Alex Kiriakis will meet Jeremy Horton in the town square and demand that he has courage. When Jeremy asks what Alex is talking about, Alex responds that he is aware of what he did. Alex and Stephanie Johnson will both be mistaken when they say that Jeremy isn't worth it. Alex should really be going up against E.J. DiMera, since it was he who revealed Stephanie to Leo Stark as Anastasia Sands. She will eventually be discovered and confronted by the individuals she has harmed with her pile of falsehoods. Sophia will lose unconscious on the tavern floor because the stress will be too much for her. According to Days teasers, Sarah will examine Sophia after she is taken to the hospital and provide Amy Choi with some challenging information. In Days' weekly teaser video, Sarah acknowledges it seems Sophia has suffered a psychological break before Amy holds Sophia while she is in a trance. Sophia is a cunning woman, therefore it's possible that this is just another convoluted plot. Will Sophia pretend to have a mental breakdown or, as Sarah thinks, actually experience one? In any case, spoilers for Days of Our Lives indicate that more shocking revelations about Sophia are imminent, so we'll keep you updated when more information about her health issue becomes available. For the most up-to-date Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, and updates, CDL is the place to be. Alex and Stephanie make a startling announcement. According to Days of Our Lives, Stephanie Johnson was astonished when someone knocked on her door and asked if she was the author of the most well-known dirty book in America. Will Alex Kiriakis, however, persuade Stephanie to make a major statement before further information leaks? We will discuss a significant announcement that Stephanie and Alex will be making shortly. Days of Our Lives, the revolving door of Stephanie. Recently, we've noticed a few unwanted guests knocking on Stephanie's door. The first was Jeremy Horton, her insane ex-boyfriend, who was full of pink flowers and justifications for his previous actions. Ace reporter Leo Stark was the second unwelcome guest. He arrived at Stephanie's door as well, but without any flowers. Rather, Leo introduced charges and a myth that Stephanie is the author of Anastasia Sands. Leo was shut down by Stephanie, but it's clearly just a matter of time. E.J. DiMera's betrayal, how Leo Stark found out Stephanie's secret. The fact that E.J. DiMera told Leo about Stephanie is what stinks the worst. To get Leo to stop asking inquiries, E.J. revealed her secret, which he promised to keep private. He first wanted to know if the hospital construction was the cause of the darkness. Leo then inquired as to who had actually shot him. Given how terrible Rachel Black is, that is what Elvis Jr. is genuinely attempting to keep hidden. Leo now knows the truth after EJ rushed to reveal her secret. The enormous secret that Stephanie has been keeping will soon be revealed. Will Alex and Stephanie start a plan to reveal writers? In this manner, they can ensure that they have control over when and how information is released rather than having the former lady whistleblower expose it. And he would have already disclosed it if he was still lady whistleblower. We are aware of that. One stormy night, who on Days of Our Lives is aware of the best-selling author's true identity? Written under the pen name Anastasia Sands, Stephanie's debut novel, One Stormy Night, is an enormous success. It is a nationwide bestseller. Although everyone wants to know who authored the book, only a small number of individuals are aware that Stephanie is the author of the sultry romance. A lot of people still keep it a secret. Both Kayla Brady and EJ are aware. Kate Roberts, Alex, and now Leo are also aware. Plus, after reading the book, Jeremy figured it out. Stephanie is still uneasy with the thought of the public knowing that she is the author because she was concerned about the harm to her reputation as a public relations specialist. However, everything is going to change because of Leo's recent altercation at the apartment. A secret from the air, how Stephanie's history shaped her seductive DOOL novel. In order to avoid giving her PR clients the impression that she was shady, Stephanie intended the book to be published under a pen name when she first penned it. When Alex refused to follow her instructions and omit the passage about the Mile High Club that Stephanie insisted must be published, she was appalled. When Jeremy took up the soiled book to conduct some light reading, he recognized it. Drawing from her previous experience working with Jeremy while he was a pilot, Stephanie inserted some steamy pilot stewardess naughty stuff. If you recall, EJ discovered the author's secret when, during the online fan Q&A held at the hospital office during the blackout, he mistakenly believed Kayla to be Anastasia. To clear Kayla of EJ's charges, Stephanie acknowledged that she was the author. As of right now, her editor Kate, Jeremy, Kayla, EJ, and Alex are all aware. The major disclosure: will Alex persuade Stephanie to take charge of her story on Days? Leo pressed Stephanie on whether or not she was actually Anastasia Sands, but Stephanie was able to hold her own against him. However, it is evident that Stephanie is aware that her identity has been compromised and that, whether she likes it or not, she may soon be outed. We also know that Julie Williams plans to hold a book signing at the official launching of her new bookstore in Horton Town Square, according to Alex. However, that would be difficult to carry off until Stephanie's identity is revealed as Anastasia Sands. She might be persuaded by Alex that it's time for Stephanie to tell Salem and the world at large that she is the author of Anastasia, One Stormy Night, and the upcoming mystery book she penned. On Days of Our Lives, he has been subtly encouraging Stephanie to reveal. According to Alex, Stephanie ought to quit her day job in public relations, come out of the writer's closet, and pursue writing full-time. Now that Leo is aware of her dark, enormous secret that might happen sooner rather than later, will EJ face repercussions for blabbing in Days of Our Lives? When EJ began questioning who had actually shot him, the reporter really got to him. Naturally, it was the cause of his concern that made him reveal Stephanie's true identity to Leo. I wonder whether she will go back to EJ and chastise him for telling Leo her seductive secret. Although EJ isn't very reliable, Stephanie hoped he wouldn't tell anyone. His professional relationship with Stephanie may suffer as a result of what he did, but EJ is unable to keep the secret. She might not be entirely certain that it was EJ, thus there is still a question. I don't believe Leo forgot his name. Therefore, whether Stephanie discovers that EJ is the source of the leak will determine whether or not she confronts him. Stephanie is also aware that Jeremy is aware and would inform others. Stephanie would therefore believe that Jeremy was seeking retribution when he told Leo about her sultry romance book. Strategic decisions, a big public debut, or an exclusive interview. given the numerous dangers that could endanger her. Alex might persuade Stephanie to take immediate action, draft a fantastic press release, or organize a significant premiere event. Alex might want Stephanie to make a huge impression and reveal that she is the author of the amazing book. He genuinely believes that Stephanie's firm will benefit greatly and that her reputation as a public relations representative won't be harmed. In any case, Alex would prefer that Stephanie leave that position and follow her goal of being a full-time writer. We saw Stephanie and Alex devise a scheme to reveal her as Anastasia Sands over the course of the following few weeks. They are expected to make a significant statement. This is definitely something to consider, but we'll have to see if this is what it is or something else. I do wonder if the revelation would backfire as Stephanie feared, or if Alex's promises and assurances that it will be fantastic will come true. I am aware that Stephanie would prefer to notify people on her own rather than allow Leo to expose her. To keep Leo from revealing anything before they want it officially public, Alex and Stephanie might be able to get in touch with him and offer him an exclusive interview or something. In any case, there is not much time left before everyone discovers that Stephanie is actually Anastasia Sands. Brady and Steve get a break. Furthermore, what is causing Javi and Leo stress? According to Monday, October 20th spoilers for Days of Our Lives, Steve Johnson and Brady Black are still looking for Sophia Choi. In the meantime, tensions rise between Sarah Horton and EJ DiMera. In addition, the infant is a source of stress. This is what you should know. Spoilers for Monday, October 20th's episode of Days of Our Lives. Search is underway. First, Brady and Steve look for Sophia, according to spoilers for Days of Our Lives. They are certain of Sophia's whereabouts after talking to Amy Choi and finding out where her phone was last seen. Brady's pub would be that. The two will therefore probably begin looking everywhere until they locate her. And they will, if the weekly promo is any guide. Things are going to get ugly, so get ready. Spoilers for Monday, October 20th's episode of Days of Our Lives. A feud? In another scene, EJ and Sarah argue. We believe that one can choose what it is about. At the hospital, EJ's frugal spending has angered everyone. EJ has also been keeping an eye on internet usage. Therefore, they might argue about a service that is being discontinued, or the thing she's been looking for during her lunch break. Naturally, the two may disagree about that given the Titan DiMera situation. They are on opposing sides of the families involved, even though neither was personally involved in the case or the dissolution of the businesses. No matter how much distance the two maintain, it could be difficult to prevent it from infiltrating their own interactions in some way. We shall see. Naturally, she might also argue with him over the recent rumors that the blackout was caused by the new free clinic. This put a member of her family in a potentially hazardous scenario. We learn to be defensive. However, we believe Sarah needs to calm down if this is the case. Holly Jonas was not compelled to be trashed, or have Ari Horton leave her by herself while the candles are lit. Monday, October 20th spoilers for Days of Our Lives. Getting stressed. Lastly, spoilers for Days of Our Lives indicate that fostering is difficult. Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark appear to be concerned about Tesoro. Is Tiny T ill? Perhaps. For a baby to get a fever or something would not be unusual. However, it's also possible that they're anxious about all the recent changes and unpredictabilities around the baby. Zara is finished. In addition, Sophia breaks under the strain. According to Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, Maggie Kiriakis reveals some very important information. Jeremy Horton, meanwhile, is taken by surprise. Sophia Choi is also confined. This is what you should know. Unexpected news is revealed by first Days of Our Lives spoilers. Well, it kind of does. You see, we thought Xander Cook and Sarah Horton would suffer a terrible fate. What doesn't happen to a soap opera pair while one of them is still hiding something? Even yet, we weren't prepared for it to occur so rapidly. Maggie Kiriakis will find out the truth about Philip Kiriakis' attack, albeit we're not sure how that will happen. She informs Sarah in the teaser that Xander has been deceiving her. Sarah will then approach Xander to ask him to clarify that he did not attack Philip. Xander will confess the facts, clearly feeling bad about that therapy session, which naturally leads Sarah to expel him. Once more, look, we believe that Xander needs the therapy he is receiving, and we do not condone what he did. However, we are growing weary of this cycle. We believe that Xander should give up on Sarah for his own sake because he is sincerely attempting to improve. Yes, she has encouraged him to improve, but we genuinely believe that he needs someone who accepts and understands him for who he is right now. Furthermore, it is obvious that Sarah requires a partner with whom she is not continuously skeptical. Spoilers for Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th on Days of Our Lives. Blindsided. Jeremy doesn't know what's going to happen elsewhere. To get Leo Stark off his back, E.J. DiMera sold Stephanie Johnson out. As everyone knows, Stephanie, however, is certain that Jeremy is the leaker because of their previous relationship. Things will therefore quickly become uncomfortable when she and Alex Kiriakis encounter him. Jeremy will be accused of revealing Stephanie's secret, and Alex will undoubtedly be upset on Stephanie's behalf. To prevent things from becoming too crazy, Stephanie will inform Alex that Jeremy isn't worth it. Here, we feel sorry for Jeremy. Since he is innocent, he would undoubtedly dispute the claim and refuse to be taken seriously. Spoilers for Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th of Days of Our Lives. Under Pressure. Another non-surprise is finally revealed by Days of Our Lives spoilers. Steve Johnson and Brady Black will probably locate Sophia after following her phone to the Brady pub, as we indicated in the teasers for October 20th. Things will turn ugly at this point. Almost everyone who has been looking for Sophia will be present and will be demanding answers. Sophia will be under so much pressure that she will faint and have a mental breakdown. That was what we were anticipating. She is a teenage girl in love who has been duped twice by the person she loves. She gave birth by herself and had to leave the baby at the firehouse because she was so terrified of what her mother and Tate Black could demand. She then learns that the man who essentially put her in that precarious situation is not only her new teacher, but also has the potential to become her child. Given all the pressure, it's no surprise that she finally snapped. Highlights of the days of October 13th to 17th. This week was full of dramatic events in Salem. On Days of Our Lives, a lot happened this week, including relationships being permanently altered and truth bombs being unleashed. Here are some of the most fascinating events that occurred between October 13th and 17th. The change that fans predicted. The fact that Tony betrayed Gabby after she obtained the information about Xander and Philip shouldn't come as a surprise. Tony told Gabby that Theo will take over as CEO of DiMera. Gabby lost her temper and vowed to exact revenge on him. But Tony had a secret weapon that would silence her. Tony returned complete control of Gabby Chic to her. It lessened her rage, but as we all know, Gabby won't allow Tony to get away with deceiving her. Julie and Chad finally face off. The Horton household was still dealing with the aftermath from Chad's relationship with Kat. Following an encounter with Kat at the bookshop, Julie couldn't contain her disappointment in Chad when her interference drove him to his breaking point. In an epic outburst, they used some offensive language. Before Julie stormed off, a frustrated Chad gave as good as she did, saying he couldn't fix the problem. Chad's development of a backbone was quite pleasant, and it is obviously paving the way for Flynn's departure. A father and son are not present. It was amusing to see Abe and Theo argue about the latter accepting the CEO position at DiMera. Theo is ready to embrace his inner DiMera, even if it means facing his father, and he is not the same young man who traveled to Africa years ago. Fans of Days were aware that Abe wouldn't support Theo's involvement in any DiMera projects. But we were moved when we saw him sob to Paulina about how the DiMeras had ruined Lexi. This story is causing a significant rift in the Price/Carver family and has heart and history. Additionally, Sophia's baby daddy is... Aaron told Tate that he also had an affair with Sophia, which is another action that Days fans have been anticipating for almost a year. Aaron trembled, and Tate was enraged. The boys understood that things would have turned out quite differently if Aaron had raised his voice sooner. They quickly discovered that Sophia was the true cause of the predicament, ending their argument. Before Holly showed up, the three of them even bro-hugged it out and went over all the lies Sophia had told. In the afternoon, Love, Gabby, and Philip wasted no time getting busy now that they were no longer co-workers. After she told him Gabby Chic was all hers, their months-long flirtation came to an end. In an attempt to persuade her to bring Gabby Chic back to Titan, Philip tried his hardest to flirt. Although Gabby wasn't entirely sold on that notion, she was keenly aware of the clues Philip was giving her, predicted that Philip and Gabby would be a fine couple, and they haven't let me down yet. The two had some clever banter before Gabby threw herself into it and kissed him, which resulted in their hitting the covers. Amy, Sophia's mother, received honorable mention of the week for slapping Johnny in the Friday cliffhanger after discovering her daughter was AWOL and dishonest. Days of Our Lives spoilers. E.J. DiMera exposed Stephanie as Anastasia Sands. Will she reveal who she really is before Leo has a chance to tell? According to teasers for Days of Our Lives, Stephanie Johnson was appalled when Leo Stark knocked on her door and inquired as to if she was, in fact, the sexual novelist Anastasia Sands about whom everyone has been talking. Alex urged Stephanie to pursue her goals. Few people are aware that Stephanie composed one stormy night during this time. But all of that is about to change. Being the most innovative public relations representative in Salem, Stephanie is aware that the best way to avoid a controversy is to come clean before someone else does. During the October 17th episode, Stephanie and Alex Kiriakis brainstormed ideas. Alex suggested that Stephanie reveal the true identity of Anastasia Sands to the world and pursue writing full-time. He urged her to pursue her goals. She wrote a mystery that will soon be published in addition to a sultry novel. Alex makes the point that writing is her actual passion, and since the secret is out, she might as well acknowledge that she is the author of these books. Additionally, for their big reopening, Julie Williams intends to do a book signing at the bookstore she bought from Foster. He advised her to come out of hiding and reveal the truth. Additionally, Stephanie is prepared to place the blame for her identity being compromised on the incorrect person. Since Jeremy Horton obviously recognized the parts of one stormy night that showed, let's say, some wicked aspects of their previous connection, she believes he blabbed. But as everyone knows, Stephanie's secret was revealed by E.J. DiMera. Because of his journalistic ethics, Leo is unable to identify the source that gave him the tip. Now, Stephanie and Alex must figure out how to best expose her truth and follow her aspirations. Spoilers for Days of Our Lives. Stephanie should identify as Anastasia Sands before Leo does. Although Stephanie is now concerned about her reputation, she will quickly realize that it is best to inform everyone about her hot side gig before Leo writes an article about it. When Stephanie learns that E.J. blabbed, we wonder how he would explain his large mouth. E.J. was merely attempting to divert Leo's attention from releasing his article accusing him of causing the power outage in Salem a few weeks ago, or from questioning him about who actually shot him. However, the fact that E.J. exposed her wasn't cool. There was absolutely nothing else he could have done, but sell Stephanie out. He would have avoided more inquiry even if he had carried on the discussion with Leo concerning Dmitri von Luskner. Speaking of EJ and Leo, their October 16th moments were just stunning. Their back and forth was very entertaining, and they are both funny and quick-witted. It's always enjoyable to watch them together in scenes because of Leo's lightning-fast speech and EJ's delectably arrogant demeanor. Naturally, we are aware that Stephanie would prefer to claim one stormy night as her own than have Leo reveal her identity. Seeing how Stephanie responds to the issue will be fascinating. In any case, Salem is going to find out who Anastasia Sands is. Amy's frantic search for Sophia takes a wild turn, and Gabby approaches Philip dangerously. Amy looks for Sophia on Days of Our Lives Today. Brady calls, and Steve and Gabby and Philip talk about company. When Gabby goes to see Philip in his office, he is shocked to learn that Theo would be taking over as CEO of DiMera, and believes Tony made a mistake by choosing Theo than Gabby, because Gabby Chic chose DiMera. Philip, you're so near. When Philip wishes her well, Gabby gives him her company ID and informs him that Tony is allowing her to reclaim Gabby Chic. Congratulations! Why would he do it, though? Philip accepts her assertion that she negotiated a bargain despite the fact that she is obviously caught off guard. He suggests keeping Gabby Chic at Titan, but acknowledges that they are now too impoverished to make a bid. However, Kiriakis settle their debts. Philip uses a lot of double entendres to make fun of Gabby's fine work, saying things like, "Were you just massaging our egos? Does HR need to be involved? Hold on, we're fine." After pointing out that they no longer collaborate, Gabby gives him a passionate kiss. They struck the bed, then the floor. Yes, this will not go well. Is Amy reachable by Tate, and Holly is picked up for class by Tate when he drops by her room, but since they can make out, who needs class? They don't go very far before Amy arrives at the door, searching for her daughter, and she is told all her daughter has done. The whole thing. Aaron is the father, Tesoro is her baby, and people are being framed. The teenagers don't give a damn when Amy accuses them of lying. Even though Amy is mistaken, it's kind of good that she's supporting her daughter when she calls the cops. Will Titan and Johnny stay together? Brady and Johnny are wondering where Sophia is at the pub. The good news is that if Sophia comes forward, Johnny and Chanel may still be able to adopt Tesoro. As they discuss the DiMera/Titan split, Johnny acknowledges that he would like to remain with Titan rather than leave his family. After all, they supported him during the trial. Tate calls his father to ask for assistance, as Johnny leaves to meet with pupils in the square. Is Kayla going to leave her job? During their shopping break, Kayla and Steve discuss the necessity for Steve to employ someone to assist him in managing Black Patch. Kayla would be ideal, adorable, but it seems like Kayla's position as head of staff is what keeps their financially afloat. We'll call the agency Sweet Patch. To be honest, Steve only wants her to find a new job that doesn't include EJ. Kayla doesn't want to desert her patients, though. She then recommends that they watch some retro horror films at the Bijou, which sounds like a stunning old-fashioned cinema complete with marquee. Brady, however, calls Steve and asks him to locate Sophia, ruining everything. So much for being sexy at a theater like a pair of teenagers. Will Steve discover Sophia? Amy, now in full panic mode, dashes into the pub in search of Roman. Asking how he can assist, Brady seats her down. As if you give a damn, she informs him about Tate's claims and is appalled to hear that Brady conducted a DNA test to support them. Brady says Steve will find Sophia if they don't, and Sophia's father is submitting a police report. Brady responds that he is also a worried father when Amy questions why he is acting so kind after what Sophia allegedly did. Steve arrives at that moment and asks Amy several inquiries in an attempt to determine Sophia's whereabouts. What are Holly and Tate up to? Tate and Holly meet up with Johnny as he sits in the square. We discover that he erased her pictures, but when Johnny learns that Sophia has fled, he is appalled. Naturally, he is concerned about her, but he also wants her to be honest about the letter. At last, he manages to inquire about their project and his experience as a professional educator. Tate and Holly would like to collaborate on a documentary on the Horton Gala. Is Stephanie able to outsmart Leo? Stephanie informs Alex that she believes Leo was informed about Anastasia Sands by Jeremy. Although Jeremy didn't seem to have just cheated on her, Alex hesitantly acknowledges that he ran into her ex and warned him. Although Stephanie isn't persuaded, she is aware of how to halt this. She will identify herself as Anastasia Sands. She wants to be in charge of this since it will generate news and increase sales. It's time to start earning money. While figuring out how to do it, Kayla comes over with a housewarming gift, as well as to see how Stephanie is doing. In the last scenes of the show, Stephanie shares with her mother their strategy to break the news of Anastasia before Leo does. Despite her astonished expression, Kayla says she fully supports Steph. She will also take care of informing Steve. Holly and Tate hope Sophia is found quickly after Johnny leaves. Amy exits the pub as Johnny passes by, spots him, and gives him a slap across the face. Steve discovers Sophia's phone inside, where it was last seen at midnight the previous evening in the pub. Is Jeremy, Stephanie, and Alex forming a love triangle on Days of Our Lives? Is Days of Our Lives about to form a triangle? After leaving Salem in 2007, Jeremy just came back, saying he had changed. He is currently an elementary school teacher. When Julie informed Stephanie that Jeremy was returning to town, she mentioned his name, which is not surprising given that it is a soap opera. Because she had written One Stormy Night about her and Jeremy using the pseudonym Anastasia Sands, Stephanie was terrified by this revelation. She had just completed discussing her past with Jeremy and the topic of her book with her lover, Alex. Jeremy arrived to Stephanie's door with roses just 2 seconds after Alex departed for work. After a lengthy absence, Jeremy Horton has returned to Salem, igniting long-standing tensions with Stephanie and revealing long-kept secrets. When Jeremy arrived, Stephanie became alarmed because he was reading her book, which was published under the alias Anastasia Sands, and detailed their past together with private information she didn't want to be known. The jealousy and protective tendencies that could jeopardize Stephanie and Alex's rekindled romance were brought to light when Alex confronted Jeremy at the Brady pub and advised him to avoid Stephanie. As they deal with obstacles from prior lovers and residual emotional baggage, Stephanie and Alex's romance continues to develop, characterized by past betrayals, personal development, and renewed honesty. Reliving the past. Reluctantly, Stephanie opened her apartment to Jeremy, and they discussed their past. Jeremy told Stephanie that he read her book, which was the one thing she did not want to happen, and he apologized for all the hurt he had caused. Alex reacted as one might imagine when he learned that Jeremy had visited Stephanie. Just before Jeremy arrived at Stephanie's house, Alex confronted him at the Brady pub, telling him he was Stephanie's boyfriend and telling him to stay the hell away from her. Stephanie had told Alex about her violent past with Jeremy. Klein commented about Jeremy's recent visit back to town with Alina Adams of Soap Hub. Rourke has blended in perfectly and impressed spectators right away. Will Alex become jealous out of anger? Alex's warning to Jeremy to keep Stephanie alone is not surprising, but if Jeremy and Stephanie begin spending more time together, Alex's rage and protectiveness may morph into envy. Given that Jeremy wants to make amends and prove to Stephanie that he has changed, it would be simple to picture that happening. After arriving in Salem, Alex became a real ladies' guy. However, he feels that he and Stephanie are headed toward a future together. It would be entirely reasonable for Alex's rage to flare up if anything threatened that. The journey of Stephanie and Alex towards marriage. From a playful spark to a deep and lasting bond, Stephanie and Alex's relationship on Days of Our Lives has changed throughout time. When Alex returned to Salem in 2022 as a gregarious and impetuous Titan Industries CEO, their adventure officially began. At first, Stephanie thought Alex was conceited and impetuous, but as they collaborated more and more, Stephanie started to notice a more vulnerable side of Alex, which increased their bond. There were several obstacles in their romance, most notably when Alex, jealous, shut off Stephanie's phone at a crucial time, preventing her from receiving a last call from her very sick mother, Kayla. Because of the emotional toll this betrayal took on her, Stephanie ended the relationship. They resumed their affair in early 2025 after their paths met again despite the split. Both characters had grown up, with Alex showing signs of personal development and a desire for a more committed partnership. Increased openness and support for one another characterized their reunion. Stephanie even left her position at Body and Soul to be with Alex. Tesoro alarm bells, Sophia search shocker, Johnny, and Chanel out of loop. According to Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, October 20th, some Tesoro alarm bells will go off, and there will be a Sophia Choi search bombshell. Here's what DOOL fans should anticipate, since Johnny DiMera and Chanel Dupree DiMera will also be excluded. Steve Johnson now knows the last known position of Sophia's phone, which was at the pub at midnight. Steve and Brady Black are most likely going to explore one of the rooms upstairs, where Sophia might have been hiding. In the case, according to today's teasers, Brady and Steve's search for Sophia will take more unexpected turns. Steve and Brady might run into a few obstacles on their journey, whether or not they find Sophia. Amy Choi simply smacked Johnny outside the front door of the pub. Since Amy doesn't want to think the worst of Sophia, it's obvious that she is currently searching for someone else to blame rather than her daughter. Amy will eventually have to face the reality about Sophia, though. Days teasers indicate that Sophia will be held accountable for her actions in the upcoming episodes because she has completely ruined so many lives. Johnny and Chanel will not be informed of certain things in the interim. For the purpose of the adoption, Chanel and Johnny are hoping Sophia will acknowledge all the hardship she has created, but for the time being, they will have to wait for information. They will be worried about Tesoro, along with Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark. Leo and Javi might worry about Tesoro's future and any adoption developments as word gets out about this Sophia fiasco and paternity problem. At some time, Sophia might attempt to kidnap Tesoro. After Aaron Green receives DNA confirmation, we need also take into account the potential that he will battle for custody. Additionally, according to Days spoilers, Sarah Horton Kiriakis will face EJ DiMera, which may include the blackout and whatever else she wants to accuse him of. According to spoilers for Days of Our Lives, there will be some difficult scenes involving EJ and Sarah. October 20th spoilers for Days of Our Lives. Sarah confronts EJ. Chanel and Johnny worry that they might not succeed. Send Sarah toward EJ. And Brady and Steve are unsure of the direction Sophia vanished. After that, on Days, in order to learn how to trust Xander, stop making snap judgments, and stop constantly criticizing him for being the man she thought she had married, Sarah is in therapy with Marlena. That's Xander, though. Sarah doesn't have to treat EJ the same way. She can rant at him about anything because he's her new employer at the hospital. She has to go somewhere with all that enthusiasm. Additionally, Sarah feels at ease adding her name to the list because everyone else holds EJ accountable for everything. EJ is a villain. He wants to reduce hospital expenses. When they continue to spend money carelessly till they go bankrupt, how can he try to make it financially viable to run? They can then scold EJ for it. It is, in fact, the superior design. The dream is realized through teamwork. Sophia's escape from home was attributed by Amy to Tate and Holly. Amy blamed Brady after they revealed some facts about her daughter that she didn't want to hear. Brady has every right to accuse Sophia of causing Tate's suffering, but he also understands what it's like to have a child go missing because Rachel has done it to him several times. Brady offers to bring Steve in so he can assist him in finding Sophia. Fortunately, they find her and follow her to where they are right now. New settings are disliked by all. I own this boy. Leo and Javi keep talking about adopting Tesoro as though it were a tragically denied choice, despite the fact that they would never be permitted to do so in the actual world. They're not like Chanel and Johnny, who have powerful individuals working for them. However, not everything seems to be going their way. So even Chanel and Johnny aren't entirely sure they'll get what they want. Furthermore, neither Neop Baby is prepared to handle such maltreatment. Comings and goings of our lives. A missing actor resurfaces. On Days of Our Lives, a vanished actor reappears. On Days of Our Lives, a long-absent actor is about to make a reappearance. Here is the most recent casting news for the soap opera. Find out if your favorite actors are departing the Peacock drama, if any well-known stars from the past are joining the show this week or soon, or if any newcomers are joining the serial opera in contract, recurring, or day player roles. After a lengthy break, Jonah Robinson made a comeback as Mark Green, sharing scenes with E.J. DiMera and rejoining his on-screen siblings Kat, Aaron, and Felicity. In a midweek plot, Maggie Carney played Rita, E.J.'s devoted helper, who happened to run into Leo and E.J. In new family-oriented scenes, Carrie Christopher played Thomas DiMera again, spending time with Jeremy. For poignant scenes opposite Sarah, and then Leo, Sherna Nielsen returned to the role of Amy Choi. When Alice Halsey made her debut as Rachel Black, Marlena became concerned about her returning memories. The week of October 20th, 2025, Jonah Robinson reappears after a long absence as the brother of Mark Green, Kat, Aaron, and Felicity. December 2024 was the actor's last appearance. On Wednesday, October 22nd, he engages with E.J. Dan Feuerriegel. Maggie Carney enters the role of Rita, E.J.'s dependable helper. On Wednesday, October 22nd, she shares scenes with Feuerriegel's E.J. and Greg Rickhart's Leo. Carrie Christopher returns to work as Chad's son, Thomas DiMera. On Wednesday, October 22nd, he makes contact with Jeremy, played by Michael Rourke. Sherna Nielsen makes a comeback as Sophia's mother, Amy Choi. She has informative scenes with Sarah on Thursday, October 23rd, and Leo on Friday, October 24th. Rachel Black is played by Alice Halsey. On Thursday, October 23rd, the character's memories causes worry for Marlena, played by Deidre Hall.